Hello, it's another interesting episode of Inside Out. And this week we have a topic that I think should be food for thought for a lot of us. Every day on the streets you see various kinds of accidents in our society, in our environment. Then recently there was the Haiti thing, and that was sad. And, you know, I saw a situation where when there's no emergency response, people can suffer. I mean, bodies littered in the streets, children crying. It was so sad. And, you know, it got us wondering, do we have adequate emergency response? I know that Lagos State has always had adequate response, so we're going to use Lagos State as our test case. And hopefully the other states who don't have this can learn as well. And then if there's anything that needs to be corrected, through Lagos State government, we can do that. And the topic we have today is emergency response. I think the timing is so appropriate. We need to talk about this.
If I hear of a fire outbreak, instead of me calling any number, I'll prefer to probably get a bucket, get stones, get sand, and start, you know, throwing at the fire or the blaze itself. Because I've heard of an incident before that there's a fire somewhere. They called the people that are supposed to come do it. They have to tell us that they don't have water in the tank. So what are you saying?
If I happen to be in a building and the building suddenly goes on fire, I will scream for help, because maybe that is not my house or my office, because I don't know where the fire extinguisher is. So I will just scream for help. Maybe anybody that's around that can help me, or reach out to the fire service. So that is what I will do.
If a NEPA pole should fall down and I'm passing by, there are lots of emergency numbers to call. Not only the police number 911, Zane has emergency number, MTN. So all those companies, all those private companies that have emergency numbers, they have facilities in place to be able to rescue people. At least there are cases of people calling like Zane rescue number, rapid rescue number, and them answering them on time.
If I experience such, probably a fire outbreak or let me say a drainage problem or whatever emergency, I will try as much as well to call all these emergency number, at least alert them for what assistance.
If I had anything of such happen, a fire on the next year, the next thing I would do, if I have the number of the Office of Fire Brigade, I call them so that they can come to the rescue of the people, so that it will not affect the other room by bombing the area. That is what I will do.
So I'm going to introduce my panel that I think will do great justice to this topic on emergency response and things to do in emergency situations. I'm going to be starting from my left. Mr. Rufai, he's the Deputy Director, Lagos State Physical Planning Development Authority. You're welcome, sir, to interview. I remember when we met the Loma MD as well. He was so easy and so amiable, so easy to talk to. And I'm glad for the kind of people that Lagos State government has put in positions of leadership, because they're really approachable. Please help me welcome Honorable Akindele. He's the senior, is that what it is? Senior Special Advisor to the Governor of LASEMA. Just tell us the full meaning of LASEMA. I've been saying LASEMA because I know LASEMA.
Lagos State Emergency Management Agency.
Lagos State Emergency Management Agency. The next guest is somebody who, for those of you who have been with Inside Out for a long time, would know him. Then he was in charge of LASEM Boss. Am I right?
Operations.
Yes. And so I'd like to welcome him again to Inside Out, Dr. OKE-OSANYINTOLU. He's the General Manager, LASEMA. You're welcome to Inside Out. And the last person to be introduced is Mr. Lawansin Akinola. He's of the Civil Defense Corps. Am I right? You're welcome to Inside Out. Okay. Let me first of all start with you, Honorable Akindele. What is the function of LASEMA?
Thank you very much. LASEMA as an agency by law was established to take care of disasters, emergencies in any form within the state, and also to ensure that we prevent crisis within the state and to coordinate all other stakeholders involved in emergency management within the state. That is the basic function of LASEMA.
Okay. Is that to say that people like the fire service and all of that, are they under LASEMA?
Not really. They are our stakeholders. The LASEMA is a sort of umbrella for all the stakeholders in managing emergency. But however, in any emergency situation, there have to be what we call the incident command structure that we operate in the state. So LASEMA is like an umbrella coordinating all other stakeholders. We work hand in hand. It's a sort of collaboration with our stakeholders.
If there is an emergency,
yes,
and we call 7
6 7.
Is that the correct number in the middle?
yes, the
767.
emergency number of the state,
Lagos State.
of Lagos State,
Yes.
is 767 and 112. You
Oh.
can call 767 with GSM or analog.
Is that a free call? Even if you
It's
don't
a
have credit,
toll
you should
free,
go.
Toll free.
Toll free.
Yes.
112-767. So if I call 112 or 767, I will get you.
Yes.
And then
If you call 767 or 112,
Yes.
you will go through what we call the call center of the state.
Okay.
And from the call center, we have experts, which we call professionals. It depends on the type of emergency. If it is fire disaster, they will call on LASEMA and they will call on the fire service and safety unit. If it is a collapsed building, they will call on LASEMA and they will call on the physical planning. So it depends on the type of emergency that is on the ground.
but whatever is happening, whatever it is, LASEMA is involved in conjunction with whosoever is the other responsible party is.
You're right.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, Mr. Rufai, I'm going to come to you. What do you do before? Well, from here I can tell, but just tell me.
Well, we are concerned with the built environment, and so the structures that are being put in place within the built environment can have accidents.
That's collapsed building.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we are involved in the rescue operation in time of emergency with respect as it relates to collapse of buildings.
Okay. What I'd like to do first of all is to get an overview. I'm very tempted to start to ask you questions. I'm going to hold myself because I have questions I'd like to ask when it comes to that aspect and along with LASEMA. But I just want everybody to have an overview of what your functions entail. Okay. Then we'll come back to you, Mr. Lawansi. You belong to the Civil Defense Corps. Incidentally, I really do not know what you do.
We work hand in hand with LASEMA.
Yes.
That is to make sure that the whole place is conducive for them to work during the emergency.
Give me an example. There's just been an accident. What would you be doing?
Here we rescue people up from the collapsed building, or sometimes we work with the LASEMA to make sure that the whole things work fine for them. So we sometimes make sure that is we work as if we are a policeman. That is to make sure.
Okay. 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 Yeah, like the policemen on site, on the location of the accident. So you make sure that you provide an area, like if you need to drive all the people away so that they can have space to pass, things like that. You are the policeman of the emergency situation. All right, I got that. Okay. Okay, let me ask this question. 90% of the time, what we see most of the time are two major kinds of accidents. I know there are many others, but I'm going to take two major types: the road accident and the collapsed building, especially that collapsed building. Can you just run us through? I have just seen a bus or two buses involved in an accident, and it is very bad. What is the first thing I do?
Well, first thing first, you have to appreciate the emergency response plan we put in place in the state.
Okay.
Because we realize that the impact of any disaster or emergency is onto the community. So our emergency response is highly community based. And
Okay.
what we have on the ground is that we have what we call the local emergency management committee, we have what we call the school emergency management committee, and we have hospital emergency management committee. Right now, so if there's emergency, what you should do is that you call on 767 or 112. Immediately you call on 767 or 112, it enters what we call our command control room. And from that command control room, we disseminate information. For example, if there's an emergency at Badagry, and you call on 767, oh, that there's a collapsed building at number 7 Coca Street. When the message is being passed on to the control room, the command control room, it disseminates it to the relevant stakeholders. It will call immediately the last feeder if it is a collapsed building. If it is a fire disaster, it will call on the fire service and alert the LASEMA. The LASEMA officer will immediately pass the information, because effective communication is the key to management of emergency or disaster.
Wait, okay, let me get this right. So does that mean that LASEMA is available in like every local government? You have offices in all the local governments?
No, not really. We have what we call the State Emergency Management Agency, that is LASEMA.
Yes.
And in all the local government, we have what we call Local Emergency Management Committee.
Okay.
That we have their data, because in Lagos State, first in Nigeria, we have what we call disaster database. So we have all their names that are with us. So for example, in Badagry, the key officer there is Mr. Ojikutu. So if there's any emergency in
within the Badagry area,
we call on Mr. Ojikutu, that will build his capacity in association with volunteers. In the states too, we have what we call the volunteer groups that are assigned to the 3 senatorial. So if there's emergency in Badagry, we inform Ojikutu that we have the database that will build its capacity. So we kickstart the management of emergency. What we are trying to do is to improve on the response time. Because
because if you had to come from very far away,
yes,
it will take a lot longer.
It will take a long time.
Okay.
And so we will kickstart it immediately. So if there's any emergency in Badagry or Ikodu, there are our men that are on the ground that will start the emergency response before we get there.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, you wanted to say something.
Yes,
in addition to that.
Just to add to what I said.
Yes.
Apart from having these contact persons,
Yes.
that have been so trained in emergency basic life support
Yes.
by the state government through our agency.
Yeah.
We have other stakeholders. Take for instance, there is an accident right now on Third Mainland.
Yes.
We have some points that we have Lasambos vehicles.
Yes. Yes.
We have trained nurses, doctors, and paramedics. That on a point of dot it happens, we get everybody connected.
Yeah.
At the same time, for instance, if it's a petrol tank, as we are calling Lasambos, we are alerting the fire service. At the same time, in LASEMA, we have a unit called Search and Rescue. We have professionals that have been so trained in the art of this discipline that as we alert, as they are moving, we are moving out. And we're monitoring to ensure that the time response is so important.
Yeah.
So this is the basic.
So you have people at points that can actually respond to the nearest point.
Across
I know there is the Lasembos point at Antony.
Yes.
I know that one. I know there's one on Third Mainland. Yes.
Badagry we have there. Ikorodu we have. At Bowa Point we have.
Let me talk to Mr. Rufai, because we have one of these. I mean, the collapsed building thing is scary, and that's happening all over the country. Lagos State has had more than its fair share, I think more than most places, because everybody wants to make money in Lagos.
You're right.
Okay, apart from the fact that you respond to disasters, I was saying this when I went to the LASEMA office. I said, who approves for some of the buildings we see? I've been to somewhere in Ojo-Elegba. I think that they had a photocopying place upstairs. To go up, first of all, you can see the walls cracking. Then you cannot stand up straight in the staircase. This is how you be going. And you know, you'll be wondering, okay, who did they build this for? Is this a house for dwarfs? Before all of that at all, who approves? Is there anybody that looks at the buildings that come, even some of the ones, especially in all these densely populated areas?
Yes, especially with respect to issue of collapsed building.
Yes.
Government have been taking measures since 2005.
Yes.
To step up the monitoring processes.
What I'm saying is that before it gets to the point of collapsing, where you people come in.
That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going.
All right, I'm listening.
So, a crop of monitoring officers were employed. They are actually called building inspectors when they were first employed. There are about 250 of them
in Lagos State
of various disciplines. Civil engineer, town planners, architects, builders, geologists, among them. So, and these people were spread out not only to look at structures that are under construction, they also to have a look and try to see buildings that are signs of distress or signs of possible collapse. So once they identify this, steps will be taken to advise the owner of the property to take steps to either sustain the building or where it is not possible to bring it down.
Okay, let me ask you a question. If I go into a building, it's not my house or anything, maybe I just went to visit, or like I did, I went to make a photocopy, and I can notice that the building has cracks. If I notice as a visitor that this building is just a matter of time, and I wanted to do something, or is there anything I can do?
Definitely.
What do I do?
There's a lot you can do. You can alert through the state's emergency number.
That's called at 767.
I'm telling you. Once you call it, the instruction will be given to the appropriate.
Do people work on things like that when somebody says that there's a building?
Definitely, we work on it. We investigate. We investigate immediately.
Yes.
And apart from that, the authority itself has hotline.
That's your own.
Yes, LASPIDA.
LASPIDA.
Yes, they have hotlines. And apart from that too, the telephone number of all the chairmen of all the 57 local government in the state is available in the indicator.
Well, the chairman, is he going to suddenly go and investigate that?
No. Once you send a message or you phone the chairman, he will pass the information to the to LASEMA.
I think the 767 is actually the easiest thing, or 112.
It's the easiest thing. It's more direct. But if you are for example, if you are in Moshi, after phoning 767 and you know this the local government chairman's number, you can as well.
Okay, there's something else.
There
was something else that they said they've noticed. I mean, in doing this, sometimes you come and you see a building that is marked X. Yes. Like, you know, there's something wrong with this building. Even when you look at it from outside, you know there's something wrong with this building. And then suddenly it's no longer marked X.
Yes.
Do you people know what I'm saying? What has transpired?
On the issue of seeing X on a building today, and after 2 weeks, the X disappears. What are we talking about here? We are talking about collapsed buildings. The X you are seeing in different houses was not as a result of any impending collapse.
It's not.
The marks are meant for those building without having appropriate documentations and proper process of doing such. And as soon as all this have been rectified, you will not see the X again. It is not corruption.
Let's take a break first of all. When we come back from the break, we'll talk about this. You're welcome back, and we're still talking emergency responses. Before I ask you any questions, I'm going to ask my audience questions. A house is on fire. What would you do?
Definitely, you would scream and you'll be shocked, and
you will just scream.
And you run out of the house. You run out of the house. You try to call neighbors for help. That's the normal thinking of the normal Nigerian.
The first thing I've observed in my area, the first thing they
in your own area.
Yes, they will carry water, put omo on it, now on the water, and gutter water, and start using it.
Gutter water?
Yes, to quench it. Before they will, sometimes they don't even bother to call emergency. They are interested with that alone.
Okay.
My idea is concerning what you said. You add omo into the water or gutter water, because sometimes if you call them, they might come without water. Just be looking at what is happening. They will tell you there's no water inside the vehicle, so it's better for you to help yourself first before they come.
At times you might not really even call them. They might not really get there at the time that you really need them, and even if they come, they will give you complaints. It's either there's not this or there's not that. So that's why people don't at times bother calling them, because they have no use even if they come, or they might later come after the fire have been quenched. So it's of no essence of you calling them.
What I will do is I'll call for attention of people, and apart from that, get fire extinguisher to quench something. Because when
do you have fire extinguisher?
Yeah.
You have? Oh, that's great. Me too, I have fire extinguisher. If you see an accident, 2 cars have just been involved in an accident, and you can see that there are injured people in the bus or in the car, what would you do?
I'll be shocked at first.
You'll be shocked at first after you are shocked.
I won't know what to do.
You wouldn't know what to do?
I will just call for help.
Who would you call for help?
People around, just to do something about, I don't know, I'm not a doctor.
The reason why I wanted to do this is because what would most of us do if there is an emergency situation? Usually the first thing we do, nobody wants to just leave them like that, even if we know there's an emergency number. People want to do something on the spot to see how they can help a situation. Collapsed building, fire, accident. For those who know, you always see it. I mean, once there's an accident, people will just flood at that place. Now, we know we should call 767 or 112. But what should be our first response that we as individuals can do or have to those situations?
Well, in any emergency situation, as far as Lagos State is concerned, what you should do is call 767 or 112. I can assure you that we have all our stakeholders on the ground all over the states.
So if we call that, we should just go away?
If you call that, for example, if there's a collapsed building,
yes,
you must stay away, call 767. Because if you move in, you can be trapped. The key thing to life is safety first. Assemble yourself to a place and call our emergency number 767.
Just like he has said.
Yes.
Take for instance a scenario.
Yes.
A live wire explosion, and you moved in with your omo and water. You pour it. I can assure you, you have so many lives executed. Your best bet is to alert us, save yourself, and allow the experts to move in. That is why we've been trying to build up capacity in the state. Today we have so many volunteers.
How do you get to be a volunteer? As in, like
Yes.
For instance, I want to know what to do, and I want to be trained. What do I do?
Contact LASEMA office. We shall train you at no cost. And as at now, the local government has trained over 5,000 people in the last 12 calendar months in basic life support. Apart from this, we are in contact with the NYC of Lagos State.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Why don't you?
Every copper in Lagos State in the 2 or 3 weeks camp
Yes.
have been lectured, trained on disasters and emergency management, that at any point in time we can always contact them to assist us in situations.
It is. I want to come to the collapsed building once. I was going to come to you. A building has just collapsed. I'm the next door neighbor. You can hear people screaming. People are screaming. I mean, as a human being, we see it all the time. Everybody's trying to raise up sand and stone and whatever, because you know these people. You can do something before 767 arrives. Emergency response arrives.
You see, the first thing in any emergency situation,
yes,
whether you are part of it or you are an observer, the first thing is to first of all control yourself, calm down.
Wow.
Don't be hysterical.
I think that is very useful to know, because the first thing to do is panic.
So you calm down and you encourage those people affected to
calm down. Oh, okay.
Then, because if you don't even calm down, you won't even know how to call. That's true.
True. That is true.
Then you call. After calling, the emergency team will respond promptly.
I have to. One of the things.
Listen,
I was listening to
on
most
the
of
issue
them.
of collapse. Just hold on.
Yeah.
On the issue of collapse building, we have seen situations where people have worsened the casualty.
Really?
Yes. A building has collapsed. Maybe a portion of it is angled like this. The next thing you find is that people rush onto the structure, putting weight, adding additional weight to it. In some instances, the thing can fall down in a sudden way, or it may be going down gradually as a result of the weight they put on it and compressing the victim further and further. So it is always better to allow experts to come and handle the situation.
Okay, I wanted to take the fire thing, where you see every second, it's not every minute, every second counts.
Yes.
And okay, you have called 767. And I mean, are you saying that we should all just sit down and be saying they're coming? Let me still, are you saying there's nothing as individuals that we can do? If it was only one room burning when we call 767, there's no way you can be fast enough that before it gets to a whole half of the house. There's go slow, there's bad road, do you understand? There's all sorts of complications and challenges that you might face. We don't know what it is.
And I assure you, in the States, all these are constraints, all these challenges that we are really looking into. Recently, we've just acquired 2 helicopters that can...
For LASEMA.
Yes. That can respond even if there's any fire.
Do you have those ones that they show us, like when they have the California bush burnings and then it just sprays water from the sky?
It.
You have it?
Yes. In LASEMA today, we have what we call the light equipment and heavy equipment. We have equipment that if people are embedded down, we can look into it and detect them.
Like those cameras Oh! You know, I see them in movies.
They call them.
You have them?
Yes. We have personnel that are trained in search and rescue. We have instruments, which we call light equipment, concrete cutter, that can go through the concrete. So what I'm saying is that whenever there's any form of emergency in Lagos State, I'm not talking about any other states, I'm talking about Lagos State. What you need to do is to call on 767. We are prepared to manage the golden hour, which is the hour between life and death. And I can assure you,
just to add more.
Yes.
Apart from being on site,
yes,
we also use a powerful means, that is the media. So often you see on the screen along Adekule Faju.
Yes, we do see that.
We do see that.
How many of you
That
have
is
seen
part
that?
of the activities of
Yeah.
LASEMA to enlighten the public that in this area there is this problem and we are in charge. These are part of means to get in there. We will get there, but then we need all of you.
Yeah.
We need everybody in this state to have an experience. The last time you said, if your room is burning, you have a bungalow or a duplex. Fine. The first thing, off the main light.
Okay, and those are basics we need
Off
to
the
know.
main light. The areas that the fire has not moved into, possibly evacuate. But do not attempt to go into the area that already the fire was on. So it's not a matter of call us and put your arms.
Okay, so
get that right.
So everybody get out, put off if it's an electric, if it's a fire, put off electricity.
Put off that light first. Areas that have not been gutted by that
Fire.
inferno, possibly evacuate. If not, run for your life. You can still get these parties back if you are still alive.
True.
Even the public itself, they do complicate things. When they call for emergency and it's the fire service that is first coming, the police are not on ground, the first thing you find people, it has happened to our team when we went to a collapse site at Iba.
What do they do?
They started stoning.
Why?
They were stoning, they are sending stones and things like that.
Why?
People.
Because they said you came late.
Until the police.
Or what? Or why? Why would they throw stones?
Until the police came in. Their own was that you must go and bring caterpillar. You must go and bring this, that. Once you are not here with caterpillar in the first instance, you cannot do any work on the site. Whereas there are some equipment, some smaller equipment which we can use to remove the concrete bit by bit and then have access to the victim and be able to rescue the victim before become bigger.
Okay, so they were expecting that you come with big machines.
Exactly. Can come in. They are doing the same thing to fire service.
Terribly.
A lot of what people are saying, I knew, and it's a fact that the fire service of Lagos State has been recently equipped by the Lagos State government with equipment and extra tanker for supply of water in case the one in the main machine got exhausted. The state has been doing all this, but the point is that people has got some feeling.
Yes, I think
the
it's
feeling
a
of the
backlash.
past probably,
yes.
And they just assume that when the fire comes, they will not have water. But it's really not the situation now. Things has greatly improved.
All right.
Not only that, in our homes, the state is encouraging that they should have what we call smoke alarm system. Also, each house's structure should have fire extinguishers, and this is how the fire services are involved. They are going to.
No, but when you have a smoke alarm system in your house and it goes off, who would know?
If you have a smoke alarm system that goes on, you quickly alert us 767 that this is what is happening. So. Then you tell us. In the process, they will tell you, did you put this thing on? Did you put that in on? It's a form of two-way communication. And we are going to encouraging the citizenry of the state to buy more of the fire alarms.
What are the basic things any first aid box must have?
One, any first aid box must have plaster.
Okay.
Must have scissors, bandage, gauze, ointment, must have disinfectants like Dettol, Savlon, or TCP.
Okay.
And if you look at it, the basic thing is to maintain hemostasis.
Explain that.
Hemostasis is to prevent bleeding. So you put something like bandage like cotton bandage.
So the first thing when there's an accident is to stop it from bleeding, or to stop bleeding, or prevent excessive bleeding.
Control bleeding.
Control bleeding.
Control bleeding.
Okay. Okay. Let me take audience comments and questions at this point. I'm sure there are a lot of people who have questions.
When you call the 767, the cost of taking care of the patient, who's responsible for it?
So free. The cost.
Yes, that's when you come and take care of the patient. Who's taking care of it?
Oh, that's a good question. Yes, a lot of people shy away from it because when they get there, they would ask them to bring money.
No, not in Lagos State.
Okay.
In Lagos State, it's free of charge.
Okay, and the person who reported it, I think that would be another important question. Would you need, when your emergency service comes, would they need that person to follow them?
No, there's no
So
need.
you can just wait when they come, you go on your own.
We take over immediately and we start managing the golden hour at that spot.
Okay. If I go and report that my building, for instance, I want help, I'm a landlord.
Yes.
And I want to do the right thing. I don't want people to die.
Yeah.
And I come to you and I say, my building is not standing properly. And I really would like to bring it down.
Free of charge.
You will bring it down free of charge?
Definitely, free of charge.
And you won't seize the land?
No.
In fact, it's better that once you see such a sign, you complain and steps are taken to bring the building down.
You will bring it down free of charge?
Yes.
All those things you are saying so far so good. You mentioned that when anything happen incident, you should call the number 767. What about in the situation where there was network failure or breakdown in connection? What should we do?
Apart from the 767 or 112, each agency have their own emergency number. Apart from that, all the heads of this agency have their GSM well known and well publicized in all the media, because we realize that effective management of any form of emergency or disaster is good communication. So we have backup numbers.
Okay.
I now see the vital link between emergency management in Lagos State and the passion of Governor Fashola in constructing new roads and rehabilitating old ones.
Yes.
But unfortunately, this goodwill of the governor has eluded the people of my area, because in November last year, a house was completely burnt down. Many people seriously injured and property lost because of inability of the
fire service
to access the place. I stay in Surele, and from my street to local government is about 10 minutes drive. But I can tell you now that it is dry season. It will take about 30 minutes to maneuver the bad road from Adetola to Balogukuku and other areas surrounding the place. Ikare, Muyokbale. We heard the road has been awarded several times. We don't know what is happening. So we use this opportunity to highlight the importance of access road to emergency management. Thank you very much.
My question is your service on for 24 hours?
Oh, yes.
Is it a 24-hour service?
Yes.
Emergency is always 24
We
hours.
manage the golden hour 24 hours. It's a serious business.
I just want to chip in this because I really commend the Lagos State government, because by now, few years now, I've not been seeing dead body on the road.
Thank you. Thank you.
That is, yes, that's true.
I'm very, very happy. I want to use this medium to tell this agency that we have reported some issues concerning fire accident, and most of the problem is our generators. So I want you people to educate people on the way to use generator. I've been seeing a lot of some areas I've been to. You see their generator, you see where they are cooking. They say prevention is better than cure. So if you can bring that orientation to Lagosians, the way they use their generator, so that, because by the time you call the fire service or with the one and the so numbers and so on, before they come, everywhere has been burned down. So I think prevention is better than cure. Let's just educate people on that.
Okay. Okay, the second thing, sorry, that's a good one. Several times now on the news, I've heard that a family went to sleep with their generator on, and they woke up and then by morning they were all dead.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, where do they keep their generator? How?
Is the position
Inside.
They put it inside their
most
house.
cases, yes, they either put it inside their toilets on their the bedroom that is within the flat or in the passage.
They the carbon monoxide.
That is in most cases. That's what happened.
No outlets.
No outlet.
No ventilation.
No
Whereas
ventilation.
for a generator, it must be in an open place where the carbon monoxide coming out can quickly be diffused. So
a lot of people do not. You mean people don't know that they can't put generators inside the house?
The problem is they are trying at the same time to safeguard. It's true. That's the point.
The point is, if they want to steal your generator, they have to put it out first. So you will know anyway. And they steal it while it's still.
Let me. You see, let me.
I thought that was general.
But what we find is that, for example, the building that collapsed at Mushin, there are almost 50 generators in that single building. The vibration of this generator can even contribute to the collapse of the building.
Wow.
So
I'm so efficient, you really do not notice. I don't know about other people, but I am non-partial when I say that even in emergency situations, I've seen how effective you have been where I see emergencies, especially road accidents. My concern is to know how we as citizens can help and what we should do in emergency situations, because I realize a lot of us just panic, and we have been told now that we must not panic. Yes. Don't panic and then calm the other person down. Anything you want us at home to take away from this? Important points you would want us to take away? Maybe I should start. Let me take it one by one. Okay. Let me start with you. Something you want us to take away?
Yes, we have to be emergency conscious.
Yes.
So that whenever there's any emergency, just put it there that 767 or 12.
Thank you. Sir, Mr. Rufai.
When you are constructing your building,
yes,
always ensure you make use of qualified professionals for the construction of your building. Your existing buildings, occasionally get the services of Lagos State Material Testing Laboratory to test the stability of your structure in order to avoid disaster.
How often should you check if your structure is still standing okay?
At least.
Because I didn't even know you needed to check.
Within 3 years. 3 years, you should check the condition of your building.
Really?
Because, yes, the building also has a life period as human being, which is a plus. So check, as you can check your BP to see the condition in which you have.
So you should check the BP of your house.
Exactly.
Yes, your house has a BP too that you have to check.
In order to avoid loss of life and property.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rufai. Yes, Honorable Akindele.
Let us appreciate our existence.
Okay.
Let us avoid the avoidables. Let us live a modest life. Let us avoid any disaster. And at every point in time, let us be our brother's keeper in emergencies.
Thank you. Dr. Osanyintolu.
Well, people should change their orientation and believe that we have agency in place that could manage the golden hour. If you have belief in us, we will be right there to manage the golden hour, which is the hour between life.
A very, very big thank you to you. We have gotten an education today, I must tell you. And I'm hoping that this will disseminate all across actually, because Lagos is also a melting pot for so many people. So that whenever you come into Lagos, you know what to do. A big thank you to you for the education. Most of all, we have learned, always call in times of emergency 767 or 112. If you have any texts or comments or suggestions, please send them to 35025 and get your copy of the Real Inside Out magazine at Unilag Bookshop, Terra Culture, Glendora at the airport or other bookshops, or call 7411276. A very big thank you to our sponsors, Voltic Water, to Rare and Unique for my clothes, to Accord for my hair, and to LASEMA for sponsoring this particular recording. Until next week, when we come again talking about something else equally as interesting, call 767 or 112. Bye-bye and see you next week.